Coming up on AgweekTV, we'll look at the continued impact of the coronavirus on agriculture, the food supply chain, and the biofuels industry. Congress passes a $2 trillion aid package that includes help for livestock producers.
How schools are getting food to students when schools are closed.
And we'll see how elevators are recovering from the tariff and trade war. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. I'm working in the field this week, like many Americans, due to the coronavirus. In response, Congress passed a $2 trillion stimulus package, and agricultural aid was included. It will allow USDA to have more funding to craft an aid package in response to market losses sparked by COVID-19. That would include a $14 billion boost in funding authority for USDA's Commodity Credit Corporation to allow the agency to provide more direct aid to producers. The legislation also includes a $9.5 billion assistance program for livestock operations in particular. Late last week, agriculture was also recognized as an essential industry by the Department of Homeland Security. That was good news, as it will keep the food supply chain operating, including meat processing. Even before that, USDA had given assurances they would keep inspectors on the line and keep packing plants running, even if workers contracted COVID-19.
They have deemed them essential so that they won't be pulling them off from the lines and stuff, and hopefully they'll keep some extras around and be able to fill in if anybody does get sick. And what sounds like they won't shut a packing plant down either, because it's deemed essential and we need to keep things running and flowing.
Anderson says the livestock industry can't afford any supply chain backups in meat processing, but also feed distribution or trucking. And so they have also asked for extended hours of service for truckers. He adds they also need immigrant labor and have asked the Trump administration to revise their directive to stop processing most visas for U.S. entry in offices across Mexico as COVID-19 spreads. Most of those in the food supply chain can't work from home and have to be hands-on to keep food on the tables of American citizens. Despite the disease outbreak, the business of agriculture must go on. Sale barns and auction companies are finding ways to continue operating, even with limitations to slow the spread of coronavirus. Auction companies are encouraged to consider the size and density of the crowd when planning a sale. Most livestock sale barns in the region have decided to continue operating with some restrictions in place. The Steffes Group, which held more than 500 machinery and land auctions in 8 states last year, has moved to online-only bidding for its spring auctions. Max Steffes says it was a tough decision, but the right one.
The biggest gut check with this is you no longer have that retirement type party with a live on site farm auction that many folks have been thinking about for 40, 50 years.
Steffes says the bright spot is the number of bidders and prices have been higher. The COVID-19 pandemic isn't likely to cause disruptions in the supply of crop inputs like fertilizer for planting this spring. Brad Stabler, who manages 12 locations for Columbia Grain, says fertilizer and chemical deliveries from China to locations in the Dakotas and Minnesota are largely in place. Columbia Grain has 8 elevators and 4 agronomy centers. Stabler is based at the company's main depot at Arvilla, North Dakota. The materials are brought in there and then distributed where they're needed. But Stabler says flooding might affect shipments. Like other retailers, CGI's fertilizer comes largely from plants in St. Louis.
Once the Mississippi starts to flood, you can't get barges to St. Louis or to Minneapolis. If you can't get barges to St. Louis and Minneapolis, you can't load trains at St. Louis and you can't load semis out of the Twin Cities.
Stabler says about 70% of what CGI sells in the region is already sold to farmers. The other 30% is partly related to farmers not knowing what they're going to plant. Another ag sector hit hard by COVID-19, but also the huge pullback in energy prices has been the ethanol industry. The Renewable Fuels Association estimates by the end of the week, nearly 2 billion gallons of annualized ethanol production was offline. The OPEC price war and less gas demand as people stay at home has tanked crude oil and unleaded gas prices, and in turn, ethanol prices hit a record low. This has led to negative profit margins for plants, many of which are on hot idle.
One of the big demand bases for our corn is the ethanol in the ethanol industry. And the margins in ethanol have been very, very thin for a long period of time. And now as gas prices have dropped, ethanol futures have followed that, again putting an additional squeeze onto the ethanol industry, which then is pulling the corn market down.
Early in the week, ethanol producer Poet said it had not idled any plants but temporarily suspended corn buying at a number of locations and is evaluating production levels. Biofuels groups are welcoming a decision by the Trump administration not to challenge the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals ruling on small refinery exemptions. In the ruling, the court unanimously found that the EPA had overstepped its authority in granting a handful of SREs under the Renewable Fuel Standard from 2016 and 2017 to 3 refineries. The court ordered the agency to reconsider the exemptions. Groups are also asking EPA to apply the court decision nationwide. The past few weeks have been a real challenge for rural broadband service providers. Dakota Carrier Network is a statewide fiber network made up of 15 rural broadband service providers. North Dakota is one of the country's most connected rural states. Seth Arndorfer, CEO of DCN, says that's been vital during the COVID-19 pandemic to allow rural people to work from home and kids to keep learning.
We don't have weeks to prepare for this. We had literally hours to prepare, and we've been fortunate that our infrastructure was built in a scalable manner. Our internet consumption in the last 10 days has grown by, in some cases 10%, in other cases by 40%. And the quality is really impressive.
In South Dakota, SDN Communications says they will continue to monitor changes in use, but so far things are going well.
The past week, activity has kind of shifted to that work from home, school from home. We have noticed a shift in that pattern, and there's a lot more regular usage, and we're just making sure our network's ready for that.
Arndorfer is a member of the nationwide FCC task force that's working to identify rural broadband needs and promote funding for it. When AgweekTV continues, coming off a disastrous crop year in 2019 and with uncertain weather and markets, what will farmers plant this spring?
Modal's Truck and Trailer Sales builds customized trailers to fit farmers' needs. Whether you're spraying, fertilizing, or planting, we build 28-foot 2-tank trailers all the way up to 48-foot 4-tank trailers and plenty in between, including field-ready drop decks, flatbeds, and enclosed reefer trailers. We have plenty of inventory ready to go at our Wheaton, Minnesota location, but if you don't see what you're looking for at modalsales.com, give us a call and we'll talk about building you the perfect trailer.
Your local North Dakota Case IH dealer about the new Speed Tiller high-speed disc.
When the water's high and your yields are low, 'cause your fields have no place for water to flow, just one call takes care of it all. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated.
Looking for a crop insurance agent for the 2020 crop year? Call the team at Martinson Ag Risk Management. We do more than just marketing. We have 60-plus years of combined crop insurance experience to provide the service and solutions you need for your farming operation. Call Martinson Ag Risk Management at 701-205-4200. Let's get started on your 2020 policy today.
When planting season comes around, time is precious and you don't have a moment to waste. This spring, keep your planters rolling with a user-friendly seed tender from Northstar Ag. We have seed tenders for every size operation from Meridian, Unverferth, and J&M. Northstar Ag also sells a variety of Valmar spreaders, the leader in air boom delivery. Uptime is crucial. Keep your crew in the field longer with a fuel trailer from Thunder Creek. Visit NorthstarAg.com to see our complete new and used inventory or give us a call.
After a disastrous crop year in 2019, many farmers were looking forward to a new planting season with the optimism that the worst was behind them. However, weather continues to be uncertain, and now add to that the grain, energy, and stock market response to the COVID-19 outbreak. That means farmers have even more questions about what they'll plant this spring. Early estimates on corn range from 93 to 96.5 million acres, up sharply from 89.7 million in 2019. And that's a trend reflected in Iowa.
There will be more acres of corn than last year. Conditions seem pretty friendly, and farmers like to plant corn, and they will. We will if we can, and I think in our area we will.
However, other areas of the Corn Belt are much wetter, which leaves skepticism about planting that much corn.
Out of the Dakotas and Minnesota, if it stays wet, they have so many problems up there. Snow on the ground, corn and beans still in the field. Yes, you could shave 1 million acres out of that pretty easily.
Low corn prices may also limit plantings, with recent contract lows due to coronavirus and record low ethanol prices, which is idling plants. While the corn-soybean price ratio still favors corn, this may discourage some acres.
The uncertainty of price with this big price break we've seen because of the financial market meltdown and the coronavirus, I think price still matters.
The crop insurance price being more than a dime below last year, even though we're getting a little bit of backing off of fertilizer prices and diesel fuel prices, I still don't think guys are going to be super excited on fringe or marginal acres to push acreage.
Soybean acreage estimates range from 80.5 to 85 million, also up sharply from 76 million in 2019. But prices are below break even with less inputs, which also leaves a question mark.
The economics is why I question whether these beans are going to go in the field.
I don't know that the cash is going to be there. So do people want to plant soybeans? Maybe not, but there might be people telling them they're going to have to plant soybeans.
However, in the acreage battle, the one crop losing out has been wheat, as it's below the cost of production. Plus, with corn yet to harvest in the northern Corn Belt, planting spring wheat will be tough.
We are experiencing a 100-year low in planting. It goes back to the early 1900s to see acreage planted at this level.
Despite farmers' intentions, continued wet conditions may force farmers, especially in the northern Corn Belt, to take prevented plant again in 2020, which will impact the acreage mix.
Even northern South Dakota, from middle of the state going north, has a lot of snow and they have standing corn in places where they couldn't harvest because there was too much water. Those acres for sure won't get planted because they're going to be just too wet too.
So the hope is Mother Nature will be kinder in the next 2 months to turn this situation around. The first settlement payments in the Syngenta corn class action lawsuit are going out to farmers. A majority of farmers can expect total payments exceeding $5,000. Eligible class members, including producers and landlords, are expected to receive about 65% of their estimated settlement amount. Grain handling facilities and ethanol plants will get about 50%. The remaining money of each class settlement amount is expected to be paid in the fall of 2020, when all the claims will be processed.
Ahead on AgweekTV, while the students aren't going to school, the school is bringing lunch to them.
And later in the show, with COVID-19 now in the mix, how one elevator is dealing with a trio of trade troubles.
Ready for more? The new Fendt 900 Vario is impressive on every level. With groundbreaking features, you'll be ready for everyday challenges now and in the future. New smart connectivity solutions make the Fendt 900 series from Butler Machinery an intelligent choice for your farm. We're also proud to carry the Fendt Ideal, a new combine for a new era of farming. Designed to be automated in operation, the Ideal combine is already setting industry standards for efficiency and output. Visit butlermachinery.com to schedule a demo at your operation.
Make sure your farm equipment is season ready with an uptime inspection from your Titan Machinery service professionals. Titan Machinery's team of Case IH certified technicians has the knowledge and experience to find, correct, and prevent mechanical issues that could shut you down during the season. Your planting and harvest windows are short. For genuine Case IH parts and service, schedule an off-season uptime inspection at Titan Machinery today. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models. With over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
At Superior Grain Equipment, we're committed to quality and service, offering you the best in grain storage and dryers for any size operation. Our experts will work with you to determine the most efficient and economical storage solution for your needs. We help protect your bottom line and your future with the industry's best bins and warranties. Make the superior choice for protection today and tomorrow with Superior Grain Equipment.
When schools closed due to coronavirus, that meant many kids were not getting breakfast or lunch at school. So many of them decided to offer sack lunches. Now that's a real challenge in small towns with lots of rural students. But Rose Dunn visited one Minnesota school that was making hundreds of deliveries a day to make sure no kids went hungry.
Even though school isn't in session, the Rothsay School kitchen is bustling. These workers are getting ready to send hundreds of lunches out the door for delivery by the district's bus drivers, along with breakfast for the next morning.
We feed kids every day. I don't think a lot of people know that one of the primary things we do in school, yeah, we educate kids and we take care of them, but we feed them too. And a lot of kids we feed 2 meals a day.
When the program started, the school switched to its summer lunch program, which provides free food for any student regardless of need. Mr. Johnson says that's important because, like many small towns, Rothsay doesn't have a grocery store, and many kids are home alone while their parents still have to go to work.
It has been a huge relief not only for myself and my family and my kids, but just the community as a whole.
Stephanie Curtis happens to work at the school, and she appreciates the peace of mind knowing her kids are getting a healthy lunch while she's gone.
They're delivering fresh fruits and vegetables, sandwiches, cereal, milk, really good, easy, nutritious food that the kids can handle and make on their own. So
when you get home at night, did they eat it?
They did, yes.
That's the best news of all,
yes,
right?
And they have enjoyed it, and they really appreciate it. Thank you.
In Rothsay, Minnesota, this is Rose Dunn for AgWeek.
You may have noticed during the deliveries, the school is very particular about maintaining safe distances. A little sun right now, but after a gloomy week, there may be a pattern change coming. Here's your AgriWeather outlook.
As the calendar turns into April, there are always some changes. Let's take a look at April weather, and we are actually seeing quite a bit. That doesn't mean winter has finished at all. It's not uncommon at all in the northern plains, upper Midwest to get an April snowfall, but it's usually very short-lived once you get this late into the season. What we're looking at is surges of warm air coming north, especially out in the Great High Plains. There will be some very warm days, and a concern again this spring will be areas where it's not dry enough for planting. This is the National Soil Moisture Network looking at topsoil. This is actually looking at about the top foot or so of topsoil, and it's a percentile. So when you see the blue shaded areas like southeast Iowa, much of the southern Corn Belt down here, it's very wet, like in the 98th or 99th percentile of moisture. Most of the Great Corn Belt is quite wet right now. Until you get up into northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, southeastern Minnesota, things are a little closer to average soil moisture. And let's kind of focus here on the Dakotas and Minnesota. Southern Minnesota, fairly optimum, a little bit wet in areas of northern Minnesota. And there continues to be this area where it's very wet, southern North Dakota and northern South Dakota, but there are some dry pockets actually showing up in northeast North Dakota where it was not nearly as snowy of a winter season. The weather pattern as we go through the next couple of weeks, still looking at split flow jet, but with the Arctic air so far north, we are starting to see milder temperatures up into the Midwest and northern northern plains. And you note periodically little what we call in meteorology tongues of warm air drifting north all the way up into parts of North Dakota. And by warm air, I'm meaning getting up close to or into the 70s. And we will continue to see surges of that. The really cold weather will stay north. Most of the south remains quite warm. As we move into the weekend, I am expecting a bit of a northern plains cool down, and that will be manifested, but also fairly short-lived, because as we look into the April 5th through 11th period, I am expecting a nice surge again of warm air to come northward into the northern plains, mostly the western parts. Precipitation-wise, this week, March 29th through April 4th, it'll be wet across the south. Most of this getting up into the Midwest and plains is not going to be excessive moisture, just a little bit showery. And there will be some moisture in the Pacific Northwest, some lingering mountain snows. I don't expect to see a lot of particularly heavy rain anywhere. And as we go to the second week, April 5th through 11th, just some showers in the south. Not saying it won't rain at all in the great Midwest and northern plains, but it is looking like the weather will go into a somewhat drier and also milder period, hopefully paving the way for some better planting weather.
The best land rollers in the industry are built right here in North Dakota. And now, they carry a 10-year factory warranty. With sizes from 15 to 91 feet, Summers has the right fit for any operation. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about the full line of Summers field-tested tough equipment.
Mayo Manufacturing, your Red River Valley source for Badco. Mayo Manufacturing, your Red River Valley Badco dealer.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Dig, lay, and bury drain tile all in one pass with the Crary Tile Pro Plow. The Crary Tile Pro Plow lays tile up to 7 feet deep with boot sizes of 4 to 12 inches. Advantages of installing drain tile to your field provides increased overall yield, improved soil moisture levels, and controls soil erosion. It pays to tile with a Crary Tile Pro. To locate a dealer near you, visit www.crarytilepro.com.
Big Boy Toys.
Nearly 2 years after the beginning of the trade war, the grain trade continues to struggle. And now it faces a triple threat, including unprecedented harvest problems and global trade disruptions due to COVID-19. It's our AgWeek cover story. Tyler Stegman is general manager of Columbia Grain at Arvilla, North Dakota. He says the amount of corn they handled during the normal fall harvest was down 60%, although that number is rising now with the spring harvest underway. Meanwhile, tariff woes are continuing. Stegman says that soybean trade in the 2018-19 marketing year was down 36% from the pre-trade war level. But he says he's cautiously optimistic about the new Phase 1 deal with China.
I don't think it gets back up to the volumes that we saw, say, 3 harvests ago, but having something in place during that time period should be beneficial to the growers to give them a market to get rid of their beans.
He calls COVID-19 another unknown, driving down prices and slowing farmer interest in selling. Still ahead on AgweekTV, a new book tells the stories of some of the most important developments in ag, all made right here in the Upper Midwest.
AgWeek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the AgWeek editorial team and me, Al Windmill, from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the AgWeek podcast is the show for you.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? AgWeek magazine. Reaching over 70,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. AgWeek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. AgWeek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back. A new book celebrates the entrepreneurial spirit of farmers in the region. The book is called Innovative Entrepreneurs of North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota, 150 Years of Impact. Bruce Jovig has been collecting stories about regional entrepreneurs for 30 years. Once he retired, Jovig teamed up with ag historian Hiram Draki on the book. About half the stories are about ag and food entrepreneurs. Jovik cites 3, Cream of Wheat, Nash Finch, and C.H. Robinson, that started in Grand Forks in the 1800s.
I just find it really interesting that 3 companies that grew into Fortune 500 status started in Grand Forks in the 1880s and 90s. I just find that extraordinary, and that they're still around today in their form.
The book also tells the stories of several important ag equipment inventors, including the Dahl, Melrow, and Steiger families. Thanks for joining us this week on AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Have a safe week, and we'll see you next week.